Hey guys, NES Addict here. Today we're going to go over part 2 of my top 10 NES games, starting with number 20 and counting down to 11. All that and more next. Number 20, Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. As a kid, when I saw The Adventure of Link in commercials, I thought to myself, now this looks like a cool Zelda game. What appealed to me was the side-scrolling portions of the game that looked less like the original Legend of Zelda, which I considered to have bad graphics, but more resembled the Super Mario Bros. Game that made me a fan of Nintendo. The interesting thing about this game is that it is considered the black sheep of the Zelda franchise. Sure, the overhead world doesn't look nearly as good as the original, and yes, you have to grind a lot to increase your magic, life, and attack. But if you can get past that, this game is an amazing adventure and a unique experience in the Zelda franchise, and that is why it is number 20 on my list. Number 19. Double Dragon. Double Dragon is a true classic, even if it's impossible to get 50,000 like the Wizard.
50,000? You got 50,000 on Double Dragon?
Also, who can forget that epic intro where the guy punches your girlfriend right in her stomach? Of course, this means war. What I love about Double Dragon is the RPG-like element, where you earn moves to finally be able to jump kick a Bobos in their faces, toss Chin Brothers over your shoulder, and finally elbow your way to victory. I recently played through this game, and boy did it take some practice to finally beat it. But when I finally got to fight Jimmy Lee, I kicked his butt and got the girl. And that is why this is number 19 on my list. Number 18. Darkwing Duck. I love Disney games, and with that being said, Darkwing Duck has recently taken the number 1 spot, topping both DuckTales and Rescue Rangers. This game brings the same charm, but something about Darkwing Duck just seems more, well, just more badass.
Let's get dangerous.
Maybe it's that masked mallard Darkwing Duck, or maybe it's the Mega Man-like qualities that this game possesses. Either way, I really like how closely this game follows the cartoon, which I loved as a kid. Especially paying attention to each enemy, giving them their own level with them as the end boss. Darkwing Duck may be Capcom's best side-scrolling platforming Disney adventure, and that is why it is number 18 on my list. Number 17. Super Mario Bros. 2. As a kid, I never owned Mario 2, but only borrowed a friend's copy a handful of times in the 2nd grade. Looking back, it never seemed weird to me that it departed from the Mushroom Kingdom, or that you pulled up onions from the ground to use as projectiles, or that Wart was some random new enemy to defeat. It just seemed fun. As an adult, I still feel this way, even now knowing that this game was originally not intended to be a Mario game, but that it started out as Doki Doki Panic, a Famicom game that was remastered to be a Mario sequel, after the real sequel was deemed too hard by Nintendo of America's Vice President Howard Phillips. I recently played back through Mario 2, and it was still a joy to travel through Subcon and defeat Wart by feeding him his veggies. And that is why this game is number 17 on my list. Number 16. G.I. Joe, a real American hero. G.I. Joe is a game I have a brief memory of playing as a kid. So when I started collecting for the NES, my mind went racing back to that memory and triggered me to search it out every chance I got. Finally, when I found this game last year at a local game store, I picked it up and quickly began to make my way through each level to defeat Cobra. What I like about this game is the cartoony graphics that really set this game apart from any other NES game that I have ever played, and the awesome ability to pick your team from a variety of different G.I. Joes, all with different strengths and weaknesses to fine-tune your army to victory. Plus, the game has the coolest G.I. Joe as a playable character, Snake Eyes, and that is why this game comes in at number 16 on my list. Number 15, Bionic Commando. I was turned on to Bionic Commando after watching Nintendo Powered Time Machine Episode 2 by NES Complex. Watching that video and hearing the way he described the game made it sound amazing, and I quickly found a copy. After a couple years of letting it sit on the shelf and only picking it up for short stints of trying to make my way to the first level, this year I decided to make it a goal to play and beat this game. After I dove into this game and got comfortable with the fact that you cannot jump but instead use your bionic arm to maneuver through the levels, I was finally able to complete it. Completing the game gave me a real appreciation for what Capcom brought to the NES in Bionic Commando, and that ending where you witness the demise of Master D is exactly why this game is number 15 on my list. Number 14, Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse. Castlevania 1 is one of my all-time favorites on the NES, so when I found Dracula's Curse, I could not wait to sink my teeth into this game. Pun intended. This game writes the course from Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest, which I'm not saying is a bad game, and returns the franchise to a more linear path as seen in Castlevania 1. Each level is uniquely crafted with plenty of spooky moods and classic Castlevania atmosphere, and guiding Simon Belmont's ancestor Trevor through them is quite the adventure. The game is also well scored with a touch of horror that only Konami could bring. I think this game was the perfect ending to the NES trilogy, and that is exactly why this is number 14 on my list. Number 13, Startropics. Startropics is a game that I never knew about as a kid. Lucky for me, my friend Philip forced me to play it at his house one night, and boy am I glad he did, because had he not, I may not have gotten it so soon. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't have, because he gave me the copy that I have today. What I enjoy about this game is the interesting storyline, where instead of saving a princess, you instead guide your character Mike through various tropical islands while figuring out puzzle-like levels to find his lost uncle. This game is truly a unique adventure, and it was crafted by Nintendo specifically for American game players, which shows through the subtle nods to American culture, with mentions of baseball, cola as in Coca-Cola or Pepsi-Cola, and an Indiana Jones reference of Dr. Jones. This game is very unique, and with all of its charm and fun gameplay, it won me over, and that is why it is number 13 on my list. Number 12, Bucky O'Hare. Bucky O'Hare is one heck of an expensive title, but man is it worth it. Konami took this lesser-known franchise and really created something special. The game really stands on its own, but it's sometimes seen as a Mega Man clone due to the ability to level select, which is about the only thing it takes from the Mega Man franchise. Where this game shines is the use of multiple allies which you acquire by conquering different colored planets. Once your mates are freed, it's time to take on the Air Marshal himself. Boy, this game takes a lot of practice, as it really does require a lot of trial and error. But once you beat it, you feel on top of the world. The variety of playable characters and their special attacks, amazing level design, and pure fun poured into this game makes it outstanding, and that is why it is number 12 on my list. Number 11. Super Mario Bros. 3. When I made my initial top 10 list, I left Super Mario Bros. 3 off because I just couldn't justify putting it above any of the other 10 games for the sake that it is on so many other people's top 10 list. It's not that I don't like the game. As a kid, it was one of the best games I had, and I couldn't wait to get it for Christmas. Just listen to the excitement in my voice when I got it.
Mario 3! Oh, that's what I wanted!
The problem was, as an adult, it just did not hold up in my eyes to the high regards others had placed it. I think the problem was, I had some unfinished business with this game. See, I had never completed it at this point, and I think that was the problem that was clouding my judgment. In 2018, I made it a priority to beat Mario Bros. 3. And after I did, I gained renewed appreciation for the game that I haven't had since I was a kid. I really do love Super Mario Bros. 3. I love the different suits, like the raccoon tail, the frog suit, and the tanuki suit. I love the level where everything is huge. I love all of the fun mini games. I love so many other things about this game that I cannot put into words, and I wish it was in my top 10. But it fell just one spot short, and that is why Mario 3 is number 11 on my list. Alright guys, that was part 2 of my top 10 NES games, number 11 through 20. Leave a comment below about what would make your list. Thanks for watching.